The Liberal Democratic Party, frequently abbreviated to LDP or Jiminto, is a conservative political party in Japan. The LDP has almost continuously been in power since its foundation in 1955, a period called the 1955 system, with the exception of a period between 1993 and 1994, and again from 2009 to 2012. In the 2012 election, it regained control of the government. It holds 285 seats in the lower house and 113 seats in the upper house, and in coalition with the Komito since 1999. The governing coalition has a supermajority in both houses. Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga, former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and many present and former LDP ministers are also known members of Nippon Kagi, an ultranationalist and monarchist organization. The LDP is not to be confused with the now defunct Democratic Party of Japan or the 2016 to 2019 Liberal Party. The LDP was formed in 1955 as a merger between two of Japan's political parties. The Liberal Party, now Social Democratic Party. The party won the following elections, and Japan's first conservative government with a majority was formed by 1955. It would hold majority government until 1993. The LDP began with reforming Japan's international relations, ranging from entry into the United Nations to establishing diplomatic ties with the Soviet Union. Its leaders in the 1950s also made the LDP the main government party. And in all the elections of the 1950s, the LDP won the majority vote, with the only other opposition coming from left-wing politics, made up of the Japan Socialist Party and the Japanese Communist Party. From the 1950s through the 1970s, the United States Central Intelligence Agency spent millions of dollars attempting to influence elections in Japan to favor the LDP against more leftist parties such as the Socialists and the Communists, although this was not revealed until the mid-1990s when it was exposed by the New York Times. For the majority of the 1960s, the LDP gained momentum. In 1976, in the wake of the Lockheed bribery scandals, a handful of younger LDP Diet members broke away and established their own party, the New Liberal Club. A decade later, however, it was reabsorbed by the LDP. By the late 1970s, the Japan Socialist Party, the Japanese Communist Party, and the Komito along with the international community used major pressure to have Japan switch diplomatic ties from the Republic of China to the People's Republic of China. In 1983, the LDP was a founding member of the International Democrat Union. By the early 1990s, the LDP's nearly 4 decades in power allowed it to establish a highly stable process of policy formation. This process would not have been possible if other parties had secured parliamentary majorities. LDP strength was based on an enduring, although not unchallenged, coalition of big business, small business, agriculture, professional groups, and other interests. Elite bureaucrats collaborated closely with the party and interest groups in drafting and implementing policy. In a sense, the party's success was a result not of its internal strength but of its weakness. It lacked a strong, nationwide organization or consistent ideology with which to attract voters. Its leaders were rarely decisive, charismatic, or popular. But it functioned efficiently as a locus for matching interest group money and votes with bureaucratic power and expertise. This arrangement resulted in corruption. But the party could claim credit for helping to create economic growth and a stable, middle-class Japan. But by 1993, the end of the miracle economy and other reasons led to the LDP losing its majority in that year's general election. 7 opposition parties, including several formed by LDP dissidents, formed a government headed by LDP dissident Morihiro Hosokawa of the Japan New Party. However, the LDP was still far and away the largest party in the House of Representatives, with well over 200 seats. No other party crossed the 80-seat mark. In 1994, the Socialist Party and New Party Sekigake left the ruling coalition, joining the LDP in the opposition. The remaining members of the coalition tried to stay in power as a makeshift minority government. But this failed when the LDP and the Socialists, bitter rivals for 40 years, formed a majority coalition. The new government was dominated by the LDP, but it allowed a socialist to occupy the Prime Minister's chair until 1996, when the LDP's Ryutaro Hashimoto took over. In the 1996 election, the LDP made some gains, but was still 12 seats short of a majority. However, no other party could possibly form a government, and Hashimoto formed a solidly LDP minority government. Through a series of floor crossing, the LDP regained its majority within a year. The party was practically unopposed until 1998, when the opposition Democratic Party of Japan was formed. This marked the beginning of the opposing party's gains in momentum, especially in the 2003 and 2004 parliamentary elections. That wouldn't slow for a